Hello, my name is Carletta from Musings of Carletta A blog and YouTube channel Carletta A. That's with a K. This is the second video in the video kind of response or follow-up, or my version. Okay, this is the second video to go with in the my first video was the kind of video reply to Orion Kelly. Orion Kelly. I'm sure I'll remember his channel soon. I've disconnected from the internet to help. Just whatever. Paying attention. So this is a second video. The first one was called something like, again, I've disconnected the internet, called something like unscripted, unedited, unleashed, why autistic people may seem hostile. So the first video I went through, I kind of talked and said what prompted me to do the video. This video is, and in the first video I read from a document that I've written, and this second video is about the second half of the document. So there is a bit in the middle, but it's I'm just gonna leave it. So it needs a bit of editing and stuff, and I'm just repeating myself. Okay, so how are you? I'm good, thank you. Not well, but good, positive, whatever. Not really, whatever, it'll be fine. Background. Okay, so the document, straight onto the document, why autistic people may seem hostile. Okay, so background. The title, that subtitle I wrote is background. Oh, background. In 2013, so 9 years ago from when I wrote the document, when I discovered the term gaslighting, which means like it's a way of like manipulating someone, I knew I wasn't going to be manipulated by people again. Well, I knew it was a long learning process where I'd go overboard. I'd learn everything possible. I've allowed my feelings to be manipulated, like kind of observing the situation and observing my reactions and my thought processes as I'm interacting, but also like just going like, okay, so just allowing things to happen, like observing. I knew this was a long learning process where I'd go overboard, for example, learn everything possible in this moment. I've allowed my feelings to be manipulated so I can experience what happens in my feelings, mind, and body. And I knew I'd trust people when I shouldn't. I'd screw up royally. I'd live and learn, as they say. I also knew that being tossed around by people was metaphorically at an end. So, your employees being hostile when you try to talk to them. might be a red flag that you're the problem. Did you wonder that before reading this chapter? The answer is yes, it is you. There's something you're doing, or many things. Try listening. Try being present. Try caring. Like, try being willing to know, the buck stops here. I am going to remove this distressing thing. So the imaginary employee in this situation can, come alive again. Like you probably want them to. And of course, like they want. Finding my place. So this is a bit where I attack again. So I'm just going to read it for a little bit. Okay. So the imaginary employee in this situation can come alive again by taking on the persona of, or being someone who the buck stops here. I'm gonna move hell and high water. I'm gonna make these things happen. Make your needs be met. Okay, I can pretty much. A great antidote to a hostility? Honesty. Being present. Like, live in this single moment. In that conversation. Be interested. Like, just not try to manage anything. Just be aware. Aware of yourself. Aware of your thoughts and your feelings. The person right in front of you. And the environment that you're in. What's the background noise? I've got the fans, 2 fans behind me to get some airflow in this place. You might have just heard, maybe, I think that was kids playing or something. I hear a ringing in my ears. Obviously you can't hear that. And my voice, obviously. So there are things that I can hear right now. My voice. The fan. Okay. Radio silence, because I'm allowing myself the space to try and experiment and not try and be perfect. Creates a calm, peaceful atmosphere. Okay. So, a great antidote to hostility is honesty. Being present. Live in this single moment, in that conversation. Be interested. Not trying to manage anything. Just be aware. Aware of yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, the person right in front of you, and the environment you're in. What work pressures are you both after? During and after this conversation. So now I get into another attack mode, which I kind of don't want to do. Let's see how I can rephrase it. Okay, so I'll tell you what I've written, and then I'll out loud try and rephrase it, and reframe it. Because before you interrupt me and manage me as an employee or a client, I'm going about my day, doing detailed work, paying attention to what I'm doing, and probably in a state you can only dream of, a state of flow. So, how about this? I could rephrase it something like, so you might notice, for example, that the autistic person or the disabled person or the person at work has sometimes a state of flow where they go about their day doing detailed work, they're paying attention to what they're doing, you know, like they're on top of it. And then, as say, and they're intentional, you know, they're purposeful, they've got a job to do, they're doing it. And then, let's say, okay, so and then in this situation at work, let's say it's a boss or something, the person is interrupted, their attention is dragged away or shot away from what they're doing. So the thoughts are going everywhere like a disturbed ant's nest. And then they're trying to, in my case anyway, this is what it feels like. I'm trying to hold on to the space, the feelings, the context, the space of paying attention, doing my work, things I got to remember. Okay, so let's say it's even more ideal situation. I've finished that piece of work. I've now, God, I've now given myself a little bit of a brain break, and my thoughts can kind of start to go back into stasis, look up, look after my immediate needs, have a drink, have something to eat, maybe at the desk, stretch, look around, pay attention to the environment again, what's happened, what's changed, what's the same, what might be needed, who's okay to acknowledge, hi, you exist, yeah, I exist, good, I do too, hi, etc. Or, oh God, that person looks like they're struggling, it'll be okay, conciliatory smile, that kind of thing. And then you've got, so there's the situation, so you need that time to recharge, to switch tasks, right? So you've done a task, you're getting your brain settled, aware of the environment, and then what's the next task? And then, so basically sometimes, let's say if it's a hectic workplace, you someone will come over and basically, whether it's tone or words or just force or feeling, like just expect you to, oh hey, answer this question, answer this question, answer this question, answer this question. Yeah, can you do this task, or you haven't done this yet, or when are you going to get on top of that? And I'm like, dude, I just literally looked up from my work. I need to just, oh my god, just be present again. And so you've interrupted my ability to self-regulate. And you put demands on me that I need to do this. And then when I'm like, get all, you know, so I might be stuttering, I might be looking around, I might be like, you know, I don't know. Like, it's a look confused. Because my thoughts are a mess. Because it's a shock to the brain wiring. And you've just interrupted my mindfulness. And so that's one thing. Confusion. For some reason, people seem to think that confusion's a bad thing. And I don't understand it. Like, it's okay to wonder about things, to but also in this thing, in this scenario, confusion would be like, well, of course I'm confused because you've just literally interrupted me from my mindfulness or from my job. And I don't know what to say. And then there's this friction between expecting you to be switched on straight away the moment someone talks to you. And then you're blamed and told to practice mindfulness, and it's like, dude, I was just fucking doing that and you interrupted me. And then you might come back as a autistic employee in this example, employee, somebody working, and have that reaction of like, what do you expect, or that hostile thing. And then I don't know, these it just this. I'm going to stop giving that situation right now. Okay, let's try again. So you approach me and I surprise you by seeming hostile. Is it hostile? Or is it look, what is your point? And what are you going to do about it? Attitude. It's one way of looking at it. Let's say the NDIS, for example. So it's pretty interesting. I was watching a Senate committee about the NDIS yesterday, and it was in Tasmania, and it was pretty cool because I'll slow down. And the Senate committee on NDIS, it was in Tasmania. It's first ever live streaming capability that they had, so that was pretty awesome. Nice work, guys. It's pretty cool. This is lot of, it's very confusing, all this video stuff. I can't work out yet how to live stream, for example, on YouTube. Okay, so nice work. Okay, so NDIS. So one of the things that, for example, an advocate gave about the NDIS was that what the NDIS demands in, like, the wording and the specificity of what the NDIS demands is different to how the medical profession works. So, for example, like so for example, on my paperwork, the clinical psychologist, university lecturer, who diagnosed me, this was back a few years ago, clinical psychologist diagnosed me. On the paperwork with that diagnosis, it said something like possible autism or some version of variation, right? Like or apparent, or something like that. So like health professionals, they don't, just like we don't, as autistic people, as we, like the neurodiversity movement, we don't need these rigid words that are apparently to define things. Like, that's not how the medical profession works, is my understanding. There are times when you can definitively say, or clearly say, autism spectrum, blah blah blah, and the DSM number. So my thing, it had the DSM number, the year of the DSM, it had the words. I mean, it but and then so basically the medical profession, from what the lady was saying yesterday, she's an advocate in Tasmania, and this also goes to my paperwork that health professionals fill out, right? And psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever, they fill out, is they don't want to box people into mental health diagnosis if they don't have to. It might be a provisional diagnosis, it might be a possible diagnosis, it might be, as I said, apparent, but what the NDIA demands of people is exact wording. So my paperwork that said whatever it said, so this is a thing that the NDIA, so this is an example of the NDIA not recognizing how the mental health system works and how the health sector works, or whatever, medical sector, whatever. So they've got their own rules, and the rules is diagnoses have to be completely 100%. This is it. This is what you have. This is what you have. And the medical professionals like, okay, dude, this is what it looks like. Now things can change. I might get more information. You might learn more about yourself. We'll have a chat later. We'll work this out. Or you know, so many variations along just totally this, you know, basically the NDIA demands complete certainty in their words about medical information about you. What is your functional capacity? All these bloody questions, and they're so constrictive with the questions. And then, so I gave them that paperwork, and they said it's not acceptable because the word has to, that word has to be taken out. So that was one example. And so in that situation about dealing with hostile autistic people, so that's how the health system works, the mental health system anyway. Lots of ways of diagnosing someone. Doctors are busy. They might write 1 to 3 words into forms. Centrelink should know this because they do it all the freaking time with the I mean, God knows how many forms Centrelink receives from doctors about clients, you know. So the NDIA receives God knows how many forms and letters and reports from medical professionals. If the NDIA has not noticed that the way they do demand information is different to how the health profession works, that is not my problem as an NDIS participant. You guys need to fix it, NDIS. You need to actually pay attention to how the fucking health profession works, mate. And not blame the clients either implicitly or explicitly. Oh, that's not the information we required. You didn't provide the information we requested. You didn't provide this information on time. All you have to do is go back to that professional that costs hundreds of dollars that you might not actually have. Certainly if you're on New Start, sure as hell don't. I don't know how people are alive on New Start. I don't know. Like, some people, there was someone I met a while ago who, and this is so common, mate. And this was before all these bloody rent increases. Good God. In the past couple of years. Your New Start allowance, or the dole or welfare in Australia, let's say it's $600 a fortnight, and your rent is $500 or $400 a week, or fucking whatever, right? The point is 90% of your New Start allowance is taken up in rent. So you've got what, $40, $10, $30, $20 left over after you've paid your rent. I don't know how people on New Start, on the dole, are surviving. So the NDIA are looking at paperwork that doctors fill out, and they do this all the time because they are busy and they've got better things to do than filling out bloody forms, because the NDIA and then you blame the participant for not providing the correct information and demand that they go see specialists they cannot afford. There's no money. And then the participants say, in my case, I've long journey of advocating for disadvantaged youth, LGBTI people, about homelessness, autism. And so I try to teach the NDIS things and advocate for myself. And it's like, oh yeah, that's just how the system works. So this is where I go back to taking on the vision of yourself, or whatever. Just taking on just being. The buck stops here. You know what? You're fucking right. Because when my doctors fill out these forms, they only put 1 to 2 words. They only write, variations of a diagnosis. They don't write definitive diagnosis all the time. You know what? You're not the first person I've talked to about this and seen this about. I'm going to tell the NDIA, and I'm going to shout from the bloody rooftops until they know, until they change. So of course that comes back to the NDIA being immovable, using the force of their power and their say to override make demands on people that don't fit to what's actually going on in the world. So I've got this theory, right? I'm going to subtopic. I'm going to change topic a little bit. I've got this theory, right, that it's like the NDIA have gone about the NDIS as if disabilities and the disability sector didn't exist before they arrived, or something. Like this shouldn't have been a surprise that doctors don't always write definitive diagnoses on paperwork. That when forms say, does this person have mobility issues, doctors will write yes, or give one example that they ask the participant or future participant. It shouldn't be a surprise that that's how the medical profession works. I don't know. I don't know. It's really weird how the NDIS is set up. It's just so invalidating. So invalidating. I really don't know anywhere else any other organization I've come across where the rules are so strict for no reason at all. Like, no helpful reason. Just had a blank. Okay, so are you a great antidote to hostility? Honesty, being present. Guys, just give the NDIA stuff leeway to use doctor's reports. Like, seriously, what's fucking wrong with you people? If stuff's written down, mate, if medical professionals have gone to the trouble, in my case, for example, of providing you with 19 pages of a medical report, in a multidisciplinary team, and you're rejecting the entire report for you're invalidating the entire report because of some insane invalidating rule. Of course autistic people are going to be hostile, mate. I mean, they've gone to the trouble of answering all those questions, doing the freaking tests, doing the exercises, re-traumatizing themselves and managing that, and the mindfulness and the, managing the energy and the emotions and the explaining and explaining and explaining and explaining and explaining until you just wanna freaking die. Yeah, man. Of course I'm going to be hostile. How is that surprising to you? At all? How are NDIS participants and people who try to apply and just keep getting knocked back, and people who get knocked back for insane reasons? Of course we're hostile, mate. Of course we're going to be frustrated. And of course we're going to be angry when the NDIS and the NDIA are demanding things that don't exist in how the world operates. So the autistic people you try to talk with are hostile. Well, no shit, Sherlock. It's because of your attitude sometimes. Acknowledge it. Okay? Deal with your attitude. What are your values? What is the purpose? Say what the purpose is. If the purpose is some kind of version of Hunger Games, leave disabled people out, leave people who are on New Start and on the dole, just hope they'll just piss off and like Hunger Games, and just maybe they'll just somehow, I don't even want to say the word, yeah, be honest. Deal with your attitudes, and you'll find you won't have to deal with me. Because, mate, I want to get shit done. I want to, there is so much I want to do.